Two people here. All right. Welcome. Hello. Thank you so much for making some time tonight. Your time is very, very valuable to me and to all of us, and I very much appreciate it. So let me get started. So this is the meeting for neighborhood and emergency response district leaders and division coordinators, formerly known as area coordinators, or so don't get that confused, it's the same thing. Just quickly, actually, you can unmute yourselves because I can't see all of your faces. But were many of you or most of you able to attend the last CE class on Know Your Zone?
Yes.
This Sue, I didn't attend the last one. I wasn't aware of it.
Oh, darn. Okay. But most of you did?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. If you missed it, and
Yeah.
thank you very much for those who were able to attend. If you missed it, I posted it on our YouTube channel. So we have the San Mateo Consolidated Fire Department has a new YouTube channel, which you might be aware of. It is the easiest thing to do is to go to youtube.com, type in San Mateo Consolidated Fire Department, and it'll take you right to the channel. There's something called playlists, and there's one for continuing education, CERT continuing education or CERT CE classes. And I will post as many as I can there. Sometimes we'll have a case where the presenter doesn't want their presentation on YouTube, which is perfectly logical, and then I won't be able to post them. But and I can't, unfortunately, give you credit for attending the class if you watch it on YouTube. So that's the advantage of seeing it live or attending it live.
So, Sandra, this is Mark. Sorry to interrupt. I
Yes,
want to thank you again for taking my suggestion and putting it on YouTube. Because of the amount of evening meetings I have for work, it's very difficult to make many of the education sessions. And even though I won't get credit for it, at least I'll be able to learn and watch it. So I want to thank you again for that.
Absolutely, and I'm thrilled that we're able to do it. It was a great thing that when they added the YouTube channel and made that available to us, so we're taking advantage of it. So there's lots of stuff on there if you have a chance to take a look. But again, even if you want to review it or show it to somebody or take a segment and to understand something more clearly, it's a great opportunity to go back and review. So that's what's going on with the YouTube channel. And like I said, just type in San Mateo Consolidated Fire Department in YouTube, and it'll take you to the channel, and you'll be able to find the continuing education classes there. Okay. All right. I think we're pretty much ready to go, and everybody's here. So thank you again for your time and help. For those of you who may not have met me, this is Sandra Firpo, and I am the program manager for our CERT program, and very proud to be so. What you obviously are doing is to help build a culture of preparedness in our cities, in our communities, and that is going well even in times of pandemic. Somehow we're still managing to stay engaged, to stay relevant, to be of assistance to our communities whenever we are requested. And I want to thank you all for your enthusiasm and your willingness and readiness to be able to do that whenever we are asked. There may be future requests, and we'll see how that goes, but your safety is always our paramount concern. So I want to make sure that anything that we offer is done with as many safety protocols and strict safety protocols as possible. As you know, you're part of a chain in the whole community, and certainly part of ICS, the Incident Command System, which all of you are probably familiar with. And as neighborhood and ERD leaders or as division coordinators, you're going to see how all that falls into ICS and the chain of command. Right. So here's the big picture. This is a nice big organization chart of where CERT falls if we were to have a major incident of some sort and we were to open an EOC, an Emergency Operations Center, such as we did at the beginning of the pandemic. Then all these players would come into play. So over here you have your command staff, the emergency management coordinator, ops plans, all the different sections. And here under fire and rescue branch is CERT. So if CERT were to be activated in an incident, that's where we would fall in this organization, in this chart. If we were to zoom in a little tighter to just CERT, this is our organization chart. So if you had a chance to look at our standard operating procedures document, this chart is in there. So if you want to take another look at it, you can do so. But again, emergency services manager, that's my boss. Here's me, and this is the program manager. The sections, the main sections, each of our cities is a branch, and underneath in that branch are our division coordinators. This actually should be division coordinator here under Belmont, and then the ERD or neighborhood leaders, which is what many of you have shown an interest in doing or are already doing. So thank you so much for that, because you're an integral part of what makes CERT work. CERT, as you know, is a national program, which I think is terrific, and in fact international, with CERT teams in Chile and Japan, and CERT being used throughout the world. But its heart is at the neighborhood level, and that's where we need to perhaps pick it up a bit and revamp and rejuvenate. And that's why I've called this meeting, and thank you so much for your enthusiasm. So many of you have been in this position now for a long time, and you're the brain trust and value, and some of you are just expressing interest now, and there are certain holes that need to be filled in order for all of our neighborhoods and ERDs to have this chain of command in place. I always joke that my goal is to make my position irrelevant, no job security for me, that if something were to happen and I was not here, that everything would still work because there is a chain and everybody knows their role and where they fall in. Also, you are never alone. There's always somebody to support you, and that's what is so great about the system. And so having you here is a major part of that. So as I mentioned, we have standard operating procedures. Most CERT programs have these. We recently revamped them to because of the consolidation. So we have to reflect the consolidation in our SOPs. If you have not had a chance to look at it, please, please, please do so. It is very important that all CERT members, regardless of whether they're in a leadership role or not, return the signature sheet, which is page 9. That simply indicates to us, yes, I am active. I want to be, I want to continue my training. I want to continue being, up to date, get the newsletter, the whole 9 yards. That tells us that you're, good to go in CERT at the basic level. So every CERT member, and when you start talking to your CERT in your neighborhoods, please remind them to turn in the page 9 signature sheet on the SOP. But then also in the SOP are the roles, and among them, division coordinator, which is Appendix F, as in Frank, and then Appendix G is the role description for the neighborhood and ERD leaders. So please take a look at those. And what I will need from you is, if you are interested in either of these roles or are currently in those roles, I do need this signed document from you. So even if you've been a coordinator or leader forever, don't assume, please send it to me again. I want to have all fresh copies from everybody in the next few days. If we could do that, that would be great. Now, we want you to have fun. So there's a lot of documentation in CERT, but it's still fun while being safe, because our top priority is your safety. So don't worry. That's my favorite saying. Everyone knows it. Don't worry. You're always going to have support. There's always going to be someone to give you a hand or resource or something. So you're not alone in anything that you do in CERT. All right. We are asking, that's what we're trying to do, is trying to get our neighborhoods active in some capacity once a quarter. That's 4 times a year. What is this? This is a bonding opportunity, because how much better do you work with a team of people that you know? And you'll be able to work out strengths and weaknesses. And there's nothing wrong with a weakness. There's a role for everyone in CERT. But how much better if you came together and so-and-so is really, really great with the radio and communications or scribing, or really has it down when it comes to setting up a medical treatment area. If you have those people in your neighborhood already identified, how much more effective will you be in setting something up when the time comes? Because it will. So this is an opportunity to sort of bond and get to know people, both socially and as a team, as a CERT team. So these types of trainings that you see here, whether it be cribbing or the big shelter training, that's what we're going to do at our CERT program level. This is not what we're asking of you. Okay, so this is the type of thing that we're going to try and have as CE classes, right? But what are types of things that maybe you can do at the neighborhood level? This is one of my favorites. This was back in November. This was done actually at the division level. So several neighborhoods got together to do a neighborhood walk and assessment. And it was outdoors. It was able to be done in a nice, safe, COVID safe way, and gives everybody some really good information about situational awareness, being more aware of what is in your neighborhood, what are maybe some hazards as well as some assets. And just make sure that you're looking at things a little more with a situational awareness eye when you are walking your dog or out in the neighborhood. You're just aware of what's normal, because then you'll be able to recognize what is not normal in an emergency or after some sort of an incident. And you'll be able to be a resource to professional responders. Sometimes professional responders, mutual aid, they come from out of the area. They're not familiar with our area. You would be a great resource because you would know that's a 2-story building, even though now it was like a 1-story building type of thing. All right. Other activities and other things that have been done and are successful. So the neighborhood walk, of course. What's in your CERT bag? Everybody, pulls out what's in their CERT bag. Hey, this really works great for me. Not this, not so much. Or I wish I got a different flashlight, whatever it is. But talking with people, that's the best way to decide what you should carry, what works for them or what works for you. Somebody who's similar to you may have some ideas. You can hop on Zoom and look up your zone on Zone Haven and see what zones are in your neighborhood. Remember, neighborhood numbers and zone numbers don't always match. And your neighborhood may have 3 or 4 zones within it. So it's good to know what zones are in your neighborhood. And certainly encourage people to have copies of local maps in their CERT bags, because electronics don't always work in an emergency. Meet up at your incident command post and have your meeting there. Meet outdoors. Test your FRS radios. I really am appreciative of Judy Steele, who has a weekly FRS radio net in her neighborhood 2. So that's, they're meeting every week. They're checking in with one another. They're working on their radio skills, making sure their radios work. They can reach each other. FRS radios particularly work well in Foster City because of its flat topography. So a lot of the neighbors and neighborhoods there seem to favor those FRS walkie-talkie type radios. Or, you can do something a little, funnier one time and say, okay, pre-tell everyone, pre-announce, you're going to have a neighborhood meeting, and details will be announced over the radio. So then everybody knows to turn on their radios at 11 a.m. And you can say something like, okay, we're meeting at our neighborhood ICP at 11:30. Bring your CERT backpack and wear your vest inside out. And then repeat that message. And then wait. And see how many people show with their vest up, inside out, because they heard and followed directions. So silly things like that, some, can work. Like I said, have fun with it. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be detailed. It doesn't, everybody shows up, gets a, cupcake, and they can go home. Whatever you want to do. But the idea, again, is to build a little camaraderie and work on things. You can certainly work on a module of the CERT curriculum. The CERT curriculum has just been updated by FEMA just last fall. There are a few changes, and you can take one of the modules, and a terrorism module, or the triage module is still being worked on, and they're going to have that soon, and I'll let you know when that's available. But you could do head to toe assessment. You can do, um, you know, disaster psychology or any of those things. Take a look at the curriculum and see if there's one that you want to just put some emphasis on and talk about it with your neighbors, right? Okay, so each neighborhood or ERD, and by the way, ERD is Emergency Response District, should have a local meeting place that all of your CERTs know about. This would normally or usually be a park or a parking lot, an open area that does not rely on city staff having to open up a gym or open up a place. You would not be going into something. Picture a space that if you had the trailer available, you'd be able to set up a canopy and tables and chairs. But worst case, first time, just, you know, right after an activation, you could arrive. Maybe there's some picnic tables. You can use that as your division post or your command post and go from there. So there's a command post in every neighborhood or ERD, and then a division post location. And a division would be 2 or 3 neighborhoods together. Right. Now, this doesn't automatically mean that if you're activated, you're going to be meeting at your neighborhood meeting location. You may get a message from me or from the fire department activating CERT and saying something like, we need all SMC fire CERT trained individuals who are available to come to Central Park in San Mateo, because maybe the incident is something specific to San Mateo and that's where we need the assistance. But in the case of a regional situation, earthquake, you know, broad disaster, then it could be something as simple as CERT trained individuals are requested to meet in their neighborhood meeting places. And that's where you would begin, right? You'd go gather, see who you have, start the process, and then the ICPs, the incident command posts, would report up to the division post. In a perfect world, the division post will eventually get contact with the EOC, and that's how information will flow up the chain and down the chain. All right. So where are these incident command posts and where do we go? All right. If you have a camera phone or something on you, I recommend taking a picture because these are not going to be up that long, although you will be getting these eventually sent to you. All right, but these are where they are. So San Mateo is divided up into 6 emergency response districts. They tie in with the fire stations in San Mateo. There is no ERD 22 because there is no fire station 22, but that's how that works. In Foster City, there's only 1 fire station. So they divided up the city into 9 neighborhoods, which is great. Each has an ICP. And then 3 neighborhoods make up 1 division. And then each division has a division post, which is usually one of the ICPs. So here is, if you're in Foster City, here are your locations. Okay, so I'm leaving that up here for you to quickly write down where you would be meeting. Gull Park, which is neighborhood 2's primary meeting area, is also its division post. So the division for 1, 2, and 3 for division A. The channels that you're seeing here happen to be their FRS channels, FRS radio channels. I'm going to go to the next page, neighborhoods 4 and 5 and 6, which is division B. We have these locations. Okay. And then division C in Foster Cities, neighborhoods 7, 8, and 9. And again, I will be sending these out through your division coordinators, and then you'll be getting them that way.
Hey, Sandra, can I ask a question?
Of course.
So it says there on those neighborhoods, channel 18 and 19.
Yes,
But there are no 18 and 19 channels in the FRS band.
good question.
That goes into GMRS, which is a licensed band.
Correct. That would be right. And this is this is an old document that I know that I've, it's been in our files forever, so I have not had a chance to check in. And I'm being told that 5 and 6, the codes aren't correct. So don't go by the codes, but do go by the locations. All right. That is something that we'll have to update. And that's why it's great to have neighborhood leaders, because you guys can update me and make sure that all our information is up to date. What if you find that there's been, changes at the park or construction, or they've, built up something, then we obviously have to look for a different ICP location. So things like that, I wouldn't know, but it's your neighborhood and you'll be able to give that information up the chain, right? Okay. So Belmont has 2 fire stations. So 1 division, 2 ERDs. And in Belmont, we are in the process of identifying where ICPs might be located. Okay. That's the current plan. So things to take into consideration. Sorry, my chat box is misbehaving. All right. So again, don't worry. You're not alone. Okay. There's always people that have great experience in your role, or will be able to find the resources you need, whatever the case may be. So you're not alone. Always plenty of people to back you up. Communication. We need you to be communicative. If you're going to plan an activity, fantastic. Let us know in advance. If you're going to plan a block party and that requires, blocking the street, we need to sort of inform the city that that's happening. So that's why we like to know things in advance. But for the most part, it's just a good thing for us to know that there's an activity being planned on a certain day, just in case, right? Everybody's safety and everything else. Please have a sign in and sign out sheet for every activity. This is standard for CERT. Now during COVID times, you don't want to share pencils and pens and notepads, but one of the organizers can assign a scribe, and the scribe can just check everybody in or write in their name for them, time in and time out. You want to give everybody credit for their time and their attending. So that's what we need. And so that sign-in sheet is going to then, once you do it, send a copy to your division coordinator. The division coordinator will get it to me, and that's how everything will flow back and forth. Remember that you are the conduit of information up and information down. You want to make sure that the CERT neighbors know when things are going on, trainings that are available, events, activities, make sure they're up to date on their NEON page, everything like that. Just good reminders, good duplication, redundancy in terms of information. And then you let us know if someone's ill. You don't have to give private information, no HIPAA things here, but so-and-so isn't, is feeling under the weather. Or so-and-so's graduating or got a new job or, some sort of achievement. Let us know, because we have something now called the Sunshine Committee, which I've been working on. And finally, I think we'll be able to get off the ball rolling here. And the idea behind the Sunshine Committee, again, community bonding, right? Letting people know we're thinking of them. We're one big family in CERT. So we'll be able to send them a get well note or a congratulations note. But the only way we'll know about it is if you tell us. So please, information up and down the chain. And then we're asking you, of course, to be discreet and to treat private information privately, and to only use the information for official CERT communications. This is not an opportunity to plug your side business or whatever is going on. That's separate. Okay. All right. Safety is our #1 priority. Always is in CERT. And so you set the example by making sure that anything that you plan, please consider the safety, physical and emotional, of everybody who may be participating. Communication, I can't stress that enough. Just letting people know that things are happening and when they're happening, where, what your plans are. Obviously, if you hold an event, you have some great idea and it comes off and we want to know how it went, then we want to pass it on to other neighbors, other neighborhoods. So, let us know. Please treat everyone with respect. That's huge. And whatever you do, we have a lot of you who are medical professionals or have a lot of extra training in a lot of different areas, which is a huge boon to us with great information. But remember that anything you do training wise really has to be within the scope of CERT. So being familiar with the updated CERT curriculum is very important here. So making sure, again, that whatever we talk about, you represent CERT, it has to be within the scope of CERT. Did I mention, don't worry? Don't worry, you're not alone. Let's see. Don, I'm going to answer no, nothing on my end. I don't know what the noise is that you're hearing. Is anyone hearing any other noise or like a fan running in the background? Or is my audio okay for the most part? Yes, no? Okay.
Yeah, yours is the only microphone that's open, and there's a sound. It just sounds like a printer, like an old inkjet printer running papers off the tray.
Either that or somebody's shampooing your carpets.
All right. So next things that I'm going to need. If you would be so kind as to go to the standard operating procedures document and make sure that you've sent in page 9. And then if you wish to be considered or continue in your role, please send the proper appendix, either F for a division coordinator or G for a neighborhood or ERD leader. And remember, even if you've been doing this forever, please send it in. So these are what it looks like. All right. Now what I'm going to ask you to do on the back, if you're printing it off the website, it'll say something along the lines of up until January 31st, 2022, which is only a year away. And the roles are 2 years. So if you cross out 2022 and put out 2023, I'd appreciate that. But that's what we're going to be working towards 2023. And then, by sending these to us, it indicates to us that you are interested in being considered for this role and or continuing in the role. And our steering committee meets in February, and we'll go through all the sheets that we received, making sure that we have all the roles filled, who's filling them, and then I'll be able to get you in line to get background checked, because everybody in these roles needs to get a live scan background check. If you've already gotten one through us, terrific. But again, you may have one from another organization that you're involved with, Scouts or some other volunteer organization. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So live scan, you have to live scan for every volunteer organization you do. It seems like a waste of time and money, but that's how they want it. So that's what we'll do. All right. So a few more things that you might want to start doing until you get the full-on, okay, you're good to go, is think about the types of activities you'd like to do. What might work. Again, it's only 4 things a year, and it doesn't have to be anything big and formal. It could be, like I said, half hour. Meet at the ICP, check in, and get a sticker. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But think about things that are CERT wise, awareness and safety, of course. Eventually, you're going to receive from your division coordinator a list of the CERT members who live in your neighborhood and how to contact them. That's when you can start reaching out, introducing yourself, and maybe suggest a first meeting, and maybe just have a brainstorming session with all your neighbors as to the types of activities they want to do, because you certainly want their buy-in, right? If you're not, of course, now everything has to be done electronically or virtually. So if you're not comfortable with something like Zoom and you're not techie or savvy in that regard, don't worry. I'll be happy to set up a meeting for you. So just let me know and we'll coordinate and get that rolling. Okay. And please be aware of activities and events and trainings that we are offering, so you're not going to double book and schedule something for your neighborhood on the same day as a skills day or a CERT CE class or something like that. All right. And again, I'm trying to keep the CE classes going once a month. So something's always going to be happening. So I wanted to introduce you to a few folks. And the first one is going to be our CERT training coordinator, Frank Mulia. Frank has a lot of training experience, not just in CERT. He is a CERT trainer, but he's also accustomed to doing a lot of trainings in Silicon Valley companies. He's a veteran CERT member, has a lot of enthusiasm for CERT and more energy than my three kids put together. Frank, if you're around, can you say hello? Unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, there's Frank. So you'll be hearing from Frank when it comes to CE classes and trainings. Eventually, we'll be able to start doing some more hands-on activities, perhaps outdoors. So we'll wait till the weather is more predictable, and Frank will be a big part of that. So thank you, Frank, so much.
Thank you, Sandra.
So now let's meet some of our division coordinators. So in Division A, which is neighborhoods 1, 2, and 3 in Foster City, Mike Voudouris, also known as Safety Mike, is taking on that role. Mike, thank you so much. I believe I saw your name popping up today.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Mike.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Then
We'll fix the name later.
Oh, really? Did I make a mistake? My apologies.
Not at all. That's why.
Look at me. I'm missing. I got to buy a couple of vowels here.
There you go.
So
Thank
sorry.
you.
Thank you, Mike. Then in Division B in Foster City, which is neighborhoods 4, 5, and 6, you're probably already familiar with Karen Patterson, who's been very active and keeping everybody in those neighborhoods active as well. Thank you, Karen. Are you there tonight?
I am here.
Hey, Karen. Great to see you.
Hi. Good to see you too.
Thank you for everything.
You're very welcome.
Then we have Division C. So Division C in Foster City is neighborhoods 7, 8, and 9. And it was beautifully run as division coordinator by Henry Surya for quite some time. They were quite active. And Henry gave about a year's worth of notice for us because he had some changes that he was making in his life, and he knew that he would not be available to be division coordinator anymore. Unfortunately, we have not heard from anyone who's willing to stand up and take on the role. So, and we also need leaders for neighborhoods 7, 8, and 9. So in Foster City, we have this hole, and I'm hoping that if you know anyone in those neighborhoods, that you'll encourage them to please consider taking on either a neighborhood leadership role or division coordinator role, so we can get this neighborhood in this area active again. Great group of people. I just want to have somebody there in leadership. And again, don't worry, you won't be alone. All right. So in Belmont, as we indicated earlier, there's 2 ERDs, and the division coordinator for Belmont is Pat Halloran. Hello, Pat.
Hello.
There's Pat. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And I have a list longer than my arm of everything that Pat does. So, Belmont is well in hand. And Pat will be a name that you'll see a lot, obviously, if you are in Belmont. Thank you, Pat. Moving on to San Mateo, we have a division made up of ERDs 21, 24, and 26. So earlier in, I think it was the last newsletter, I was looking for leaders in these neighborhoods. I've gotten several people interested in helping out with neighborhoods or ERDs 24 and 26, so thank you so much. ERD 21 is still in need of a leader. So if you know anyone who lives in ERD 21, please ask them to consider being a neighborhood leader and or division coordinator for these 3 neighborhoods, these 3 ERDs. And then we have division coordinator for the division made up of ERDs 23, 25, and 27. also one of our very active and veteran CERTs, Marie Vivienne. Marie, are you with us tonight? Don't know if I saw Marie. Okay, so Marie will be the person that you will be receiving information from and giving information to. So that's how that works. All right. One other thing I wanted to throw in here, which is not directly related to CERT, is the COVID-19 testing and vaccinations. A lot of folks are getting worked up and very concerned about this, and obviously so. But the good news, obviously, is that vaccines are here. And more are being developed from more companies. So it isn't just going to be the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. Soon there will be others that have been approved. But the process to vaccinate millions of people is still new to us, apparently, and it hasn't been worked out, all the kinks. So how will you be notified? Use reliable sources, and usually those sources are your doctor, your insurance company, medical insurance company, or your employer. So please don't go by what you hear and what's on social media. Make sure that your sources are reliable. I highly recommend staying or checking regularly with the San Mateo County Health Department for details. They are in the works of opening up more vaccination clinic locations, drive-through vaccination clinic locations. Currently have one at the San Mateo Event Center. Regardless of what you hear in terms of age requirements and that sort of thing, do not, please don't go to a vaccination center without an appointment. Make an appointment, confirm your appointment, confirm the locations, as locations are being added and adjusted constantly. And the same with getting tested. I don't know if you've gotten a COVID test at all in this time period. I usually try to go routinely every 4 to 5 weeks just to be sure. Just finished getting mine this week and it was negative, so I'm very happy about that. And so just make sure you have an appointment and make sure it's in a reliable place and that you know where the location is before you go waste your time in line and then get turned away. So I don't want that to happen to you. Also, unfortunately, there are scams. So there's going to be somebody always offering you an opportunity to skip the line somehow if you pay a certain amount of money, and then of course you never see your money or your vaccination. So only go through reliable sources. Remember that the COVID testing and the vaccination itself are free. No one should be paying for anything COVID related in that regard. So no paying anybody when it comes to a test or vaccine for COVID-19. All right. All right. Time for your questions. We'll quickly check the chat box to see if there are any specific questions. Yes, we're working on a few ICPs and secondaries and things that may have changed. So yes, any division coordinators that have information regarding altering or changing or establishing incident command posts, we need to meet and talk about those things and go through that process. Any other questions?
Yeah, Sandra, I actually have one.
Yes, sir.
For the access to Zoom, are we able to access a CERT Zoom account so that we can go ahead and schedule meetings and a sign up using that as opposed to having to go ourselves where it's limited? The free version is limited to, I think, a short amount of time for each meeting.
Yeah. The one that I use, like the one I'm using tonight, is the fire department's. I will certainly ask if I can set up something that would be workable for our.
That'd be great, just so we can check in with you, reserve it, and have access to it, and not have to do it ourselves.
Right now, I would please, by all means, hey, we'd like to do a meeting. This seems like the best night, and I can at least get you, started. I can even do that from home if I have to, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great question and great suggestion. I will ask about setting up a CERT one. Some people set up, by the way, a specific, maybe a Gmail account or something, specific email just for CERT. So you're not giving away your personal information, but also that, check that for all CERT related information. So consider that as a possibility. Also, Cindy put in the chat box, good information, a good resource on the Medical Reserve Corps when it comes to vaccinations and anything COVID. So please check out the chat box there and use that. That's a good source. Thank you, Cindy.
I had a quick question. Do you want us to mail you hard copies of the SOP forms, or can we just scan them and fax or email them to you?
You can email them to me. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Yes. So was there a question about page 9? Did somebody have a question about that?
Yeah, can you just put the form up there? I'll do a screenshot of it, then I'll have it. Because I just searched the SOP and I couldn't find exactly what you were looking for.
Okay, hold on.
Page 9. That's a long address. Oops.
Share. Hold on a second, gang.
Or you can email it to me if you want. I mean.
I'm going to email it to you, Larry.
Okay.
I apologize. I just don't want to be. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Sandra, even if we signed that about 6 months ago, you still want us to re-sign it and send it to you?
Yeah, that way I have it all together for the next steering committee meeting and everything's fresh. So please bear with me and thank you, by the way.
If it's just is it the last page of the SOP?
So
I know what it is.
It's page 9 of the beginning part of the SOP, and then it goes into the appendices. So
Okay.
It should be quite literally the 9th page, if I recall correctly.
Larry, Larry, you actually did send it in, like Kathy did 6 months ago when we were doing that. So you should actually have it on file somewhere, probably. If you have it in your records and email of sending it to her, you can just resend it, probably. Can we just
that word should be taken out of the English language.
Oh, really?
So Larry, as
Larry, you're after my own
leader,
if Kathy doesn't have it, I don't have it.
I
Oh,
will send it. I will send you it, Larry.
There we go.
A good team.
so you just want us to resend you what we sent you 6 months ago?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But so I probably have most of the division coordinators. What I don't have is the neighborhood leaders. So please, neighborhood leaders, make sure you send me the correct stuff.
Do you want
I know you have mine for my division.
I'm almost positive I have yours. Yes.
Sandra,
Sorry, Pat, go ahead.
are you looking for getting ones that are dated 2021? Is that what the issue is?
Well, currently, so if you were to pull it off of the website, it currently is dated to 2022. And since the roll is for 2 years,
I mean,
it
your
needs to be
signature,
2023.
you want fresh ones so that it covers the next 2 years.
That would be lovely. Yes.
So sending the old one wouldn't work.
Wouldn't work. Correct.
So you have to do a new one because everybody signs up in January of 2021 and it would go for 2 years from this point forward.
So you're crossing out by hand 2022 and putting in 2023, and we'll go from there. Does that make sense? And thank you, Pat, for pointing that out.
And Kathy, you're gonna be proud of me. I found it.
Larry, you rock. All right. Just in case none of you have seen the CERT store, I just wanted you to just have a quick look at it. There it is. We have a few things. Now that we're going to be starting a new hybrid CERT class, I'm probably going to have an opportunity for t-shirts again. The t-shirts have to be ordered in bulk. So when we put t-shirts up, they are up there for a window of say 2 weeks, an ordering window of 2 weeks. They are, you order them on your own. They come shipped to you, but they have to all be printed at one point, at one time. So we need to get a certain minimum amount, and usually I do that right after the hybrid CERT course has run for a couple of weeks, so that way everybody can put in orders if they would like to. And again, there is no obligation to do so. All right. So again, I want to thank all of you very much for taking the time tonight to join us, and most definitely for all that you do for our CERT program. We are a premier CERT program, as you know, and we're working to make that even better. And by filling these roles and reinvigorating ourselves and getting rolling again, I think that's going to have a lot to do with our readiness. We can still do things even in a COVID and distanced way. Again, the safety of our members is the #1 priority, and all of you are really good about that, and I really thank you again. Are there any other questions? And by all means, if you think of something later, email me. But what you're going to be getting soon is, so first of all, yes, I need your signature forms, page 9 for everybody, and either F or G, depending on what role you are interested in. The steering committee will be talking with me about this at our next meeting. And then after that, we can get rolling for those of you who need background checks, live scans, that sort of thing.
Let me ask, with the t-shirts, are they going to be green or white, or what are they going to be?
T-shirts are green. There's a long sleeve and a short sleeve version. They have the current CERT, our CERT logo on them, with CERT, SMC Fire CERT volunteer written on the back.
Because Mark made these, what, 10 years ago, Mark? Is this your 10-year ago design one? Yeah, I just keep it in my bag, but.
Yes, always do. So, but we have the new ones now, and so I'll have the short sleeve and the long sleeve will both be available, like I said, for a window, and I will email everybody and send a CERT news or CERT update to let them know when those are available. All right. Okay.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you all very, very much. Great to see you all. Be well, be safe.
Hey, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All the best.